Welcome to Percent Basics worksheet number 2. Um, Here, let's just review how to change percents to decimals. Now, we learned the long way first. Want to make sure that you understood the importance of learning the long way because this way is the shortcut way. So once you're familiar with changing percents to decimals and decimals to percents, sometimes it's easy to get confused. Do I go left or do I go right? Does the decimal point go this way or that way? Well, we're here to discuss those differences and to practice a little bit more and to relate to what we learned before and now we're learning this way. It's important to know multiple ways in case one way fails. Um, Here, what you're going to do is you're going to drop the percent sign when you have a percent and you want to go to a decimal, you're going to drop the percent sign and you're going to divide by 100. Now that's kind of hard, but basically when we divide by 100, remember that lesson when we did decimal division and we divided by 10, 100, 1,000, we're just moving the decimal over. And whenever we divide, things get smaller, right? We're cutting it up into smaller pieces. I want you to think about here, let me just move this and maybe make it a little smaller. Okay. Percents, of course, is our inflated number, right? It's our inflated number. So think of a guy with big old glasses. That's our percent. This is the big number. This is the inflated number. Now what we want to do is untie the balloon and let it go back to the real number, reality, which is a much smaller number. And so that's what we're going to do. Take the big inflated number and make it into the smaller usable number, right? We can't use a percent. We talked about how we can't use our percent number with a circle / circle in any calculations. We need to really have the smaller unusable number. And so we're going to drop the percent sign, move the decimal point 2 places to the left. Why? Because 2 places to the left means it's going to get smaller. If we have something like this, 22, right? 22%, isn't this in the ones place? And isn't this in the tens place? Ones, tens. So the decimal point, even though it's not on there to begin with, it's after the ones place, right? Because we have the ones, tens, hundreds, and then the decimal and the tenths, hundreds, thousands, right? We talked about that. And so after the ones place, there's always the decimal point right here. And so here, this is the ones place and the decimal point's right here. And we're going to make it 2 place values smaller. Why? Because 100 has 2 zeros. And so we're going to go 1, 2, and that's dividing by 100. We're moving the decimal point 2 places to the left because we're going smaller. If I had this and I moved it this way, it would get bigger. That's 2,200. I'm not trying to get bigger. I'm going smaller, right? I'm unleashing the balloon till it gets down to the real size. So let's talk about this here. I have 247%. Oh, this is my inflated number because it's got the circle / circle, the percent symbol. So to take it off, I got to make it divide it by 100, or really 100, right? To multiply it by 100, we're going to move it how many place values? 1, 2. And so here, this is 2.47. And here, I've got 0.3%. Yes, I know this is a decimal, but it's a percent. It's percent first and foremost. Why? Because it has the circle / circle. And so I'm going to go ahead and take that 0.3 and move that decimal point over 2 places smaller. Hey, if I move it over here, is that getting smaller? No, because then it becomes a whole number, 3. So you want to make sure you go 2 places to the left because you want to make it smaller, the uninflated number. So I'm going to go ahead and go 1, 2. And this is the only time where we don't start after the ones place because there is no ones. And we are technically starting after the ones place because there's 0 ones place. There's 0 in the ones place. So that's why they gave us a starting point in this case, and we moved it 2 place values smaller. I'd like for you to take, let's see here, 20 minutes. Go ahead, 20 or 25 minutes. Pause this video and I'll see you when you're done, and I'll go ahead and go over these. 20 to 25 minutes depending on what your instructor says. Okay, welcome back. Let's go over the answers. Oh, that's not helping. There we go. So here I've got 67%. Of course, I'm going to move it how many places? 2. 2 places, right? Everyone say 2. 2 places. Why? Because 100 has 2 zeros, and that's what I'm dividing by. And 2 places, where? To the left. Smaller, right? We're making the number smaller. And so I have 67. Oh, here's my ones place, right? My ones place is here. And so I'm going to go 1, 2. So my answer is 0.67. This will be the same thing. Let me just move this on over. That's not helping either. There we go. 198%. So I got to put that decimal point, right? The decimal point goes after the ones place. And I'm going to move it, how many? 2. It's kind of hard, the camera's over there. And so I'm going to go 1, 2. So it's 1.98. Here I've got 2, right? And isn't 2 in the ones place? So my decimal point will be after the ones place, and I'm going to move it how many place values? That's right, count with me. 1, 2, right? 2 place values smaller. If I go the other way, it would be 20 and then 200, and that would be bigger. But I want to make sure I get smaller, the uninflated number, right? Because the value with the percent sign is an inflatable, unrealistic, unreal number. But this decimal is definitely reality. Bring them home to reality. Here I've got 59%, and I'm going to take that decimal point and put it after the ones place, right? There it is. And I'm going to move it how many place values? Smaller, right? To the left. And so it's 0.59. Let's talk about this one, 999%. I'm going to put my decimal point after the ones place. Where's my ones place? Well, it's there, right? 9 ones. So I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to go how many place values? And which way? Left. Smaller, right? If I go this way, is that really going to be smaller? No. No. I got to go 1, 2. So it's 9.99. Let's talk about 7. I've got 5/10, 0.5. And I'm going to go ahead and move that decimal point how many place values? Which way? Left goes smaller, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and go, wait, if I go this way, am I getting smaller? 1, 2, right? Putting zeros in those place values. Who got that one right? Okay, let's do the next one. This is 45.6. I'm going to go ahead and, oh, they gave me the decimal point, so I don't have to figure out where to put it. This is the ones place here, but of course I'm going to move it. How many place values? Which way? Smaller, right? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this one. Number 9, I've got 37.08. And I'm going to go ahead and move that decimal point over. They gave it to me. They said start here. Okay. And how many place values? Which way? Smaller. So it's to the left. And here I got 0.076. They gave me the decimal point, so I know where to start. And I have to go how many place values? Which way? Smaller. Left. Left. If I go this way, am I getting smaller? 776? No. I'm going to go this way. 1, 2. And this is the one most commonly missed. Let's go ahead and talk about these ones really quick. I've got 12 and 1/2%. Now, as you know, we have our commonly used fractions. 1/2 is 0.5 in decimal. 1/4 is 0.25 in decimal. 3/4 is 0.75 in decimal. So know these, but you can always say 1 divided by 2 equals, and then 0.5, right? 1 divided by 4 equals 0.25. 3 divided by 4 equals 0.75. Divide top to bottom. So in this case, this is 12, and this 1/2 will be converted to this one here. Just tag it along at the end. Just tack it on. I still have the percent sign though. That didn't go away, right? Because I didn't move the decimal point over. So that still has to be there. That percent sign and the decimal point. So now I'm going to go ahead and move that decimal point over. 12.5. Oh, I don't like that against the yellow. Let's see here. And I'm going to go ahead and move that decimal point over how many place values? Right. Which way? Smaller, right? If I go this way, is that smaller? I have to go this way. 1, 2. Then I've got 44%. Oh, 44% is, that's pretty standard. So I've got 44%, and so I start with 44, and I take that decimal point over after the ones place, and I move it how many place values? And go which way? Smaller, right? Last but not least, it's 7%. And I'm going to say, well, I know 7 is in the ones place. And I'm going to put that decimal point right after the ones place, and I'm going to move it how many place values? 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2, smaller, right? And so here, 0.07. That's a 7. Okay. Let's do 16 and 17. Write write the percent as a decimal. 5% of Joey's pay that is held for medical insurance. So of course this will be 5, and I'm going to take that decimal point and put it after the ones place, right? Because this is the ones. And I'm going to move it how many place values? And which way? Smaller. So I can take that sticker off. Right? No percent sign. Here, the 150% increase over the price of bread over the past 2 years, I'm going to write the percent as a decimal. 150%, well, that's 150, and I'm going to go ahead and move that place value after the ones place. I'm going to move it how many place values? Which way? Smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and go smaller, right? Not bigger. And so it's 1.50, but really, I don't want that clutter. Maybe you want to just write it like that. Great job. Let's go ahead and go to the next page. Sorry, I don't know why I have this page twice. I don't know. So let's talk about page 24. Here, we're going to change decimals to percents. Okay, so a decimal, the small number to the big number, big inflated number, right? This one. They're saying multiply the decimal by 100 and then add the percent sign, right? Or the shortcut, you're going to move that decimal point 2 places. Why? Because 100 has 2 zeros. And to the right, where it's going to get bigger, right? If I move the decimal point to the right, it's going to get bigger. It's we discussed in the last lesson. Let's look at the demonstrations here. .75, and I'm going to say, okay, that's 0.75, and I'm going to really move that decimal point over 1, 2, and 2 places bigger, right? That's what the right is. Gets bigger. Oh yeah, I went from 7 and then to 75. So that's 75, and then when I do that, I have to make sure I put that percent symbol here. Here I've got 5. Hey, there's no decimal point there. Well, that's okay. I know that after the ones place, there's a decimal point. And I'm going to move that decimal point over how many place values? 2. Which way? bigger. Okay. 1, 2. Make sure you move it 2, not just 1, right? You can't just move it 1. That would be multiplying by 10. You have to multiply by 100, which is 2 place values because 100 has 2 zeros. And here I've got 0.0025. And of course, if I'm going to change the decimal to a percent, I have to multiply by 100 or move the decimal point over. How many place values? 2. You got it. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 2. That's place value is bigger, right? So I got to go to the right. And here my answer is. But when I do that, I can't just write 0.25. I have to put that sticker on to show it's a percent. Oh, so I would like you to do 1 through 17, omitting the ones I took off, of course. Give yourself 20 minutes, 25 minutes maybe. You might need, some people might need 25 minutes. If you finish early, show your work to the teacher, Mr. David, and he will check it for you. He's got the key. Pause this video and I'll see you in 25 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. So let's go ahead and talk about changing these decimals to a percent. Now, of course, we learned in our last lesson, we just have to multiply by 100% to put that sticker on. But here we're looking at the shortcut just because that's our new world, the shortcuts. And we say, okay, well, how do I change this decimal to a percent? Well, I move that decimal point over 2 place values, bigger, which is to the right. And so I start with what's given and I go 1, 2, and oh, that's 35%. And here I'm going to go ahead and say, oh, 0.01. I'm going to move that decimal point over. How many place values? 2. In 2 places, which direction? To the right, because it's bigger, right? 1, 2, so it's 0.01. Oh, hold on, sorry. 1%. Don't know what I did there. Okay, and so here I start with 9. And we don't have a decimal point, right? But we could put one there. It goes after the what place value? The 1s. And so that's where it's going to go. And I have to move it to get it to a percent. Move it how many place values? Which direction? Bigger, which is to the right. Because if I go this way, it's not bigger. So I got to go this way. 1 to 90, right? And then here to 900. Oh, look at this one, this next one. I got 0.002. I'm going to go ahead and move that decimal point over. How many place values? Which direction? Bigger, to the right. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So it's 0.2%. Number 6, got 0.9. And I'm going to go ahead and move that decimal point over. How many place values? Which direction? To the right. So I'm going to go 1, 2. Hold on. Let me just rewrite that. Okay. Here I start with 1.25. I'm going to go ahead and move that decimal point over. How many place values? Which direction? To the right. I'm going to go ahead and go 1, 2. So it's 125%. Got 1. And here this is in my what place value? 1's place. So I know that my decimal point goes here, and I'm going to move it how many place values? In which direction? To the right. Get bigger. 1, 2. Here, I'm going to start with, and I'm going to have to move it how many place values? Which direction? To the right. Bigger. Let's keep going. We've got 55.55. And we're going to move that decimal point on over. How many place values? Which direction? Bigger, to the right. 1, 2. So it's going to be 55%. Here, I have 0.8. Oh, sorry. Thinking ahead. And I'm going to move that decimal point over. How many place values? 2. Which direction? To the right, bigger. So I'm going to go 1, 2. And here I'm going to start with I'm going to take that decimal point and move it over how many place values? 2. And which direction? To the right. So I'm going to go 1, 2. And last but not least, I'll do it up here. This is number 14. And I'm going to go ahead and move that decimal point over. How many place values? In which direction? Bigger, to the right. So I'm going to go 1, 2. And this is 6. Oh, hold on. There we go. I almost forgot the decimal point, which is the most important part besides percent symbol, right? So it's 0.6%. Make sure you put that decimal point in, right? Don't forget, like Mrs. Dunn just did on this. Let's look a little bit below. Here, I've got 0.005, and they're saying write this decimal as a percent. And so, of course, I'm going to take that decimal point and move it over how many place values? And I'm going to move it two place values bigger, right? So I'm going to go 1, 2. So here. In 17, gasohol is a 0.8 alcohol. What percent of it is alcohol? So I have 0.8, and I'm going to go ahead and move it. How many place values? In which direction bigger? So I'm going to go ahead and go 1, 2. Okay, I'm hoping this was great practice for you. I will see you in a little bit for the next video. Great job, everyone. Let's see here. Let me just make sure that this is it for this video. Yes. Okay. See you in the next video. Bye.